It's midnight. The house is quiet, the kind of deep, settled silence that only happens when the whole world seems to be asleep. Sarah and I were curled up on the couch, the glow of the TV casting long shadows across the living room. We were halfway through some old black and white movie, the kind you put on for background noise more than anything else. I was just about to drift off, my head resting on her shoulder when it happened. Ding dong. The sound sliced through the silence, sharp and sudden. We both jolted upright. I glanced at the clock on the cable box. 12 a.m. Exactly. Who on earth would be at our door at this hour? My first thought was that it was one of our friends playing a late-night prank. It wouldn't be the first time. Sarah looked at me, her eyes wide. "Are you expecting someone?" she whispered as if the person outside could hear her. I shook my head. No, not at all. Ding dong. Again. A little more insistent this time. A wave of unease washed over me. This didn't feel like a friendly prank. I got up from the couch, my heart starting to hammer against my ribs. "Stay here," I murmured to Sarah, though she was already right behind me, peering over my shoulder as I crept toward the door. I looked through the peephole. Nothing, just our empty porch, bathed in the pale yellow light of the single bulb overhead. The street beyond was dark and deserted. I couldn't see a car, couldn't see a person, nothing. It was just empty. "There's no one there," I said, turning back to Sarah. Her face was a mask of confusion. "But we both heard it, right?" "Yeah, we did." I hesitated for a moment, my hand hovering over the doorknob. It was probably just some kids playing ding-dong ditch. Still, at midnight, it felt off. I decided to check just to put our minds at ease. I unlocked the deadbolt, the click echoing loudly in the quiet house, and pulled the door open. The night air was cool and crisp, and just as the peephole had shown, there was no one there. The porch was completely empty. I stepped out, scanning the front yard, the sidewalk, the street. Nothing. Not a soul in sight. "See? Nothing," I said, turning back to Sarah with a shrug, trying to sound more confident than I felt. But her eyes weren't on me. They were fixed on the doormat. "Tom," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Look." I followed her gaze. Sitting right in the center of our welcome mat was a small, brightly colored pile of candy. The kind of stuff you'd get on Halloween. Little chocolate bars, lollipops, chewy sweets, and tucked just underneath the pile was a small, folded piece of paper. My blood ran cold. This was definitely not a prank by our friends. I bent down slowly, my hands shaking slightly, and picked up the note. It was written in a messy, almost childish scrawl. 4 simple words. "Thanks for letting me in." My mind struggled to process the words. Letting who in? We hadn't let anyone in. I was still holding the note, staring at it when we heard it. Slam. The sound came from inside the house. Our front door, the one I had just stepped through, had slammed shut. I spun around, my heart leaping into my throat. The door was closed, and from the other side, we heard the distinct metallic click of the deadbolt locking. We were locked out, and whatever had left the candy was now inside our house. We stood there on the porch, frozen in the cold midnight air, staring at our own front door, the chilling words of the note burning in my mind. The silence from inside the house was no longer peaceful. It was terrifying. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more spooky content, and ring that notification bell. We'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there.